My fame is a byproduct of my job. It does not define me. My fame is not my job. It's very clear to me. I am not famous for a living. I work for a living. And fame comes with it. So it's not something I can control. That's something that's thrust upon me. I think I reached a place where I stopped struggling with the things I did when I was younger. Maybe it's maturity. Maybe it's being on the other side of 35, I guess. And maybe it is just having my feet on the ground on a little bit more stable ground. But I think I'm not running as fast as I was. I'm thinking about the steps I take. I'm in a really comfortable, content place when it comes to my life. And the choices that I'm making are mine and are not defined by other people or the validation that I probably needed when I was younger. So I think that's made me a little bit more happy and calm. In India, we've been taught that mindset. We are not people as a people. Very few of us are happy for somebody else's success. I will work on the 6 verticals that I'm working on, my business, my production, my book, my acting, whatever. But when I switch off, I'm with my family, I'm at home, I watch movies, I do whatever I want to do. So then when I come back to work the next day, I have the focus to be able to do even more things. So this romanticization of work has to be tough and work has to be rough, and it's not. Work can be your companion. Work can be creative. Work can be something that gives you joy. And now I've reached a point where that work-life balance for me is most important. Why is my natural instinct when someone is successful is to be jealous? Why is my natural instinct when someone is successful to be envious? Why is my natural instinct not saying, wow, you've done so great. Let me add on to this person. Let me push you forward because then you're pulling me forward. There are many people that will want to pull you down, but don't focus on that. Focus on the one person that believes in you. Focus on the light, little sliver of light that you might see, a little bit of inspiration that you might see. And that's the hardest thing to do because you're bogged down by baggage. You're bogged down by shackles of people holding you down. So you have to really push forward. And that's just individual. Do you have that inside of you to fight that fight for yourself? Or are you going to wait for somebody else to do it? That's an individual choice. I keep my friends, my family. I'm a very grounded person. I come from the ground and I'm going to stay there. And I really did say that my generation of women changed the trajectory of the next generation of women. My co-actors, female co-actors that fought to be the face on the poster, that fought for agency in the movies that a lot of women didn't get before us, just opened the doors for the generation after us. And I think not just for women, but people, our generation and every generation will always have a prototype that'll be better than us because we have changed the landscape, right? And that's a huge responsibility on all of us. This generation of girls is fearless, and there's so many girls that take charge of their own lives and they say, I'm not going to fit into the cookie cutter mold that probably my mother did or my grandmother had to. Why am I lucky enough to have the life that I do? And some other woman somewhere else with the same opportunity, with the same desires, same ambitions, same, needs, doesn't have any of it. I really think about that a lot. It makes me feel like there must be something I did right. I wake up every day with a sense of gratitude, and I wake up every day with wanting to give back, whether that's with the person that is standing right next to me or whether that is a life choice that I might make. But giving back, I think, is so crucial when it comes to being grateful. I'm highly grateful for everything that I have. And I do think that maybe I did something right, that I've been blessed with the opportunity of having the life, being born to the parents that I was, being able to have the opportunity of making my own choices, having agency in my own life. If you think about women around the world, so many don't have that. Their complete choices are made for themselves. But my parents told me, you have to have your opinion. what a privilege. I have been inspired every day by collaborators that I work with. The reason I take new steps is because I see someone else doing something new and I'm like, wow, yaar, ye kitna अच्छा idea hai. Kaise kiya is इंसान ने? But I don't just sit with that. I think about मेरी जिंदगी में वो नया idea क्या है? What can I do that'll make me feel how I feel about this person? Bold girls make history. Bold people make history. So if you want to be the lead actor of your movie, which is your life, you've got to take choices that might be contrary to what you've heard. And that empowerment may or may not come from your parents, may or may not come from your family or boyfriend or whoever you're around. It comes from you. And that no one can do. You know, I again was lucky maybe because my parents gave me that, but I try to remind young girls specifically that if you don't have that, if you don't have that encouragement in your home, try to find it in your gut, because no one's going to fix your life but you. It's about that feeling. It's about imbibing from the people around you. And it could be someone you admire on television. It could be someone in your class. It could be someone that you work with. But when you see something that you admire about someone, imbibe it. I plan for the future, but I don't think about how far I can go. I mean, who knows what my future holds for me. But what I can think about is my present. And like I said, I like to imbibe from people that I know. So this came from a really funny thought. My mom, as soon as I turned 30, she's entrepreneurial. She's a doctor. She created her own business. But as soon as I turned 30, she sat me down and she said, look, you're in Bollywood. Your shelf life is over. You know, all these 50-year-old actors only want to work with the girls in their 20s. So after 30, you're not going to have a job very much. You know, just like you have to start planning for your future. So what about making your own movies? You know, starting production. And that, at that time, is really funny considering I'm 40 and I'm still have a very active acting career. But it was foresight on her end in an industry which kind of told women that, you know, when you're 30, sorry, you're too old. So I started getting interested in production, just thinking about the fact that I was going to lose my day job. And then that became really interesting to me. The business of entertainment started becoming really interesting to me. I used to talk a lot to my producer friends, producers that I was working with. What are the choices they make? How are movies made? So you have a cost of production. You have to recover your cost of production to make profit. So I started getting into what margins look like and just understanding that. And that was fascinating to me because it's so creative. There are so many ways to be able to create something. And I think once I started doing production and I started working in America, I knew my manager happened to be a venture capitalist and she was really into tech and stuff. So I was very interested in, and at that time she was just a collaborator, but I really got interested in investments. And I started with small investments in little things. And then those things became really big, like Bumble. So when I brought Bumble into India, I mean, Bumble changed the dating scene in India, especially for girls. And that just showed me the power of being able to have a new idea. And the idea at that time was when Bumble was launched around the world, and Whitney, who's a dear friend of mine and launched it, she left Tinder to make Bumble because she saw the gap in the market. That, you know, we want to be able to create a safe space where women have the first opportunity, where women can take the first step. And that was such a brilliant plan. And what I said to her was, India needs it the most because of especially the unsafe circumstances within which girls have to survive. This came from an idea. So ideas are what was really interesting to me. And then being able to work with people who can help me execute ideas is what really started the entrepreneurial journey in me. First, I started with investments, and Anomaly is my first brand that I founded myself with the help of Mesa. Thank you. With the help of Mesa, that were who are market leaders and leaders in incubating new brands, specifically in beauty. And then Nika, of course, bringing them. But I really lean on my partners to learn from them. And I just love the fact that you can have an idea today and monetize it. But at that time, in my parents' generation and the generation before that, it was doctor, engineer, lawyer, military, government job. Like those 5 or 6 things that everyone had to aim for. But today, like, I think my generation of parents are not going to have those boxes for our children, right? You have an idea, let's run with it.
Yeah.
Most people expect and anticipate that if you're treated a certain way, or if you're making a certain amount of money in a certain country, you're going to be treated the same way. I think the meaning of life is having purpose. We're born and we'll die. What you do in between that is your legacy. And if your legacy is, walking with sand between your toes and living in a shack and being happy and meditating, sure, it's an individual choice. Success is very subjective. To each person is their own. My success might be completely not attractive to somebody else's success, So the equity that we put on, you're the most successful, one of the most successful people on the planet, whatever, great. That's my version of it. But somebody else's version of it could be completely different. But I really believe that what your purpose in life and what you do between birth and death is what counts. So the pursuit of anything else is just futile. The pursuit should be, what am I doing in my life? What do I want to do in my life? Who do I want to be? Who do I want to touch? What do I want to create? Do I want to create? Or maybe I don't want to create. And all of it is fine, as long as you're at peace with the choices you make. So make choices that make you feel peaceful.